Fallout. The post-apocalyptic game series from Bethesda and our friend Todd Howard recently turned into a TV series. Oh boy. I just finished watching it and thought it was an absolutely fantastic show, to my own surprise, and a welcome surprise at that. It was actually really well adapted from the games, so that was really awesome. So anyways, being the slightly irradiated man I am, I scrolled down to the 1-star reviews to see what these gobbledygools had to say about the show. Want to talk about Wastelands? Now that is a wasteland of terrible reviews, but amongst this wasteland, there's an occasional Nuka-Cola in the rough. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying these occasional good 1-star reviews are all valid, although I do think some have merit. You'll see what I mean about that later. I just think most of them are either really off-putting or incredibly funny. Some of them are a little bit of both. So let's just go ahead and get to the ranking. Oh, one last thing really quick. There are going to be spoilers for the series in this video. Go watch the show first. Actually, what are you even doing here if you haven't watched the show already? Go watch that and then come back. All right, let's do this. So I picked out like 12, I think it's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, 12. 12 reviews. Some of them I kind of glanced at, some of them I didn't really look at all, so I might be more surprised by some of these than other. I guess let's get straight into plotting, pointless, and predictable. Okay, oh my god, this one is a really long one. Okay, at least they gave us the decency to give us an overview of their whole review. If you thought The Boys was a load of hot garbage, then Fallout is about on the same level. Pointless vulgarity and gore that does little for the narrative and is so overused it becomes, I don't even know, blaze? I don't know what that means, to be honest, and worthy of little more than an eye roll for their over-reliance on non-stop shock attempts seems to be a growing hallmark of Amazon originals. Okay, honestly, that's kind of fair. I mean, if you don't like violence, sure, whatever. And Amazon does have a streak. What, they got Invincible, The Boys, and now this, that do have a lot of violence in them. I think there is a reason, and I think it's mostly comedic, but I guess I understand why you wouldn't like it. But then, look down here. Let me go back. I'll preface this by stating that I haven't played any of the Fallout games, so the overall tone of the show may be on point with the games and I'm missing that understanding, but I'm familiar with the setting thanks to knowing folks who talk about it a lot. Okay, well, I don't think that's enough to really understand the game, but I think, to be fair, I feel like I could probably give this one maybe a B or C rank, because it's not that funny, but it's also kind of reasonable. Nothing too crazy here. I do think it's a little dumb, though, that is why you'd give it this bad review. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, it's too much. I mean, their own overview says that it's all down to the violence, which I think is crazy. So yeah, let's give that one, I'll give it a B tier. Throw that in right there. Now, let's try out Bethesda nukes West Coast lore out of spite. Admittedly, I did enjoy the show, but, spoilers, they destroyed New Vegas and the NCR. I see a lot of people saying that it's a retcon. Technically, that's not true, but only just barely. Hey, I've also heard the same thing. To be fair, I haven't played the game, but I've watched videos on the lore, so I don't know. That might count, might not. I could be in the same boat as the previous person who hadn't played any of the other games. I played Fallout 4. Okay, well, I don't think that's enough to really understand the game. So what it does do is make Fallout New Vegas null and void and bring it to no effect. The NCR had come so far and brought the wasteland so close to real civilization, it's literally nuked out of existence. See, I already think that that's not a good reason to rate it so poorly, because that's just that's like a nostalgia rating. That's like all nostalgia rating right there. Like, I feel like that makes the impact, it's supposed to make the impact bigger within the show, that this whole city got taken out. Am I wrong? I feel like the impact of that is major, in that it's kind of a good plot point to have something like that. I guess I understand where you're coming from with this, but I do still think it's kind of dumb so far. And now the NCR is a small group of rebels that act almost like raiders and who are a cult that worships some pre-war weirdo immortal lesbian called the Flame Mother. Immortal lesbian called the Flame Mother. I was a little confused that they were acting like raiders in the beginning just to supposedly be decent towards the end, but I think a lot of that just, like, what else, if you get your whole city blown up by these people in this vault, I would imagine that some people gain some mental issues here and want to take it out on those people in the vault. I don't think it's that crazy. Like, I kind of get where they're coming from, but also at the same time, I don't think that's a good reason to give it 1 star. Looks like the rest of this is just a bunch of stuff praising Vegas. I don't care enough to read it anymore. I think I've got the idea. All right, where do I want to rank this one? I just feel like this review is almost solely based on their nostalgia for New Vegas rather than the show itself. And I mean, of course, you got to apply things from the game into the show to give a fair review, especially if you played the games you're going to want to compare it. But I think that they're too focused on that and not thinking about the plot points of the show itself, because I think there's probably going to be good reasons for all of this. We've only got 1 season. It hasn't gotten very far into the storyline that I know of. So I'm going to have to give this one a C tier. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's great either. Sell Crazy Someplace Else. Now this one sounds like it might actually be funny.
Sell Crazy Someplace Else. We're all stocked up here.
Speaking of the Amazon video series, I find it utterly reprehensible. Its content is saturated with such depravity and obscenity that it's truly disheartening. We got another one of these ones. From the morally bankrupt characters to the bleak post-apocalyptic settings, every aspect reeks of decay. That's the point. You're watching a show called Fallout. What? You wouldn't think that there's some form of decay going on in a show called Fallout? 11 people found this helpful. Okay, let's keep on going. The narrative, if one could generously call it such, no way, is a mire of desolation and amorality. It's difficult to find any semblance of redemption amidst the themes it explores. I don't think you're really getting any major themes from a Fallout show. Like, it's not going to be like a feel-good thing for the most part. Overall, I'd call it more of a comedy than anything. I don't think you're getting any major, like, morals or anything out of this, leaving viewers feeling nothing but repulsion and dismay. In summary, the Amazon video series is a glaring blemish on the entertainment industry. Tarnishing its reputation with its vile portrayal of humanity. I don't think it's that crazy to portray humanity like that. Just look at the world today. There's so much going on. It's like, what? What? Humans literally have dropped bombs on other people on multiple occasions. It's no wonder that our own current way of living and all the horrible things are increasing in our society. It's media like Fallout that plants seeds of acceptance for such behavior, fostering dangerous ideas and attitudes among its audience. This is not how that works. It's the same thing when news stations try to say that people playing video games is going to lead for violence.
They are dangerous.
No different than having an open bar in the house or lots of drugs.
Point.
Are they going to become violent just by playing Grand Auto Theft and Halo and these games?
Yes.
If somebody is going to commit acts of violence based on what they see in a video game, they're crazy. That's not like the norm. They're just a crazy person. I don't know what you're getting to with this. It's why we accept mass murders. Okay, this is actually so dumb. I think I'm done with this one. I'm going to give this one, let's see, do I want to go F? But it's also kind of funny. I'll give it a D only because it's kind of funny, but they have some really, really bad takes with this one. Okay, yeah, I didn't like it. All right, thanks for sharing. All right, the story is poorly written by a bunch of diversity hires. What?
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
F tier. Okay, we'll go into Met. Weird, but it keeps you watching like a train wreck. Okay, already. If you find yourself wanting to watch more, I feel like giving it a 1 star is already kind of harsh. So let's see where this goes. I don't know. This had potential, but the flavor was lost in the sauce. Too much attempt to make it quirky, hip, rather than tell a good story. Okay, so I kind of get where they're coming from here. I think the humor definitely is for a certain audience, and I guess if you don't like it, you don't like it, but I think the story was good enough. I don't think the story was like incredible, but I think it was good enough. Had some bits of decent dark humor, but the rest was pretty disjointed. I can't think of a time that the dark humor wasn't at least kind of funny. I guess it was originally a video game. Okay, so they didn't play the games. So you can't exactly expect a story of Token-esque quality. There's definitely games that have really good stories. Right off the bat, I think Jedi Fallen Order has a really good story. So does, Control. I think Control has a really cool story. I mean, I guess I kind of get where they're coming from. There are a lot of games that don't have great stories. And even the ones that do have good stories, they're not as good as like top tier movies, I suppose. But that's because a lot of it goes into the gameplay, and almost like, especially with RPG games, a lot of it boils down to how you roleplay your characters. So I don't know, I don't really agree with this, but I guess I kind of see where they're coming from. but some semblance of a followable plot or tangent point would be appreciated. Okay, if you can't follow the plot, then I don't know. I feel like the plot was fairly straightforward, especially once you get to the last episode. You can kind of piece things together pretty easily. I didn't entirely hate it. Okay, you gave it 1 star, so I would imagine you did. But too many parts just stood out as annoying. It's like eating your favorite Italian meal with a busted or cut up lip. Why specifically Italian? It may have had good flavor, but the sting kept you from enjoying the meal. Perfect example was the Squire chick trying too hard to look like a dude. She didn't pull off the Anne Oakley tough girl vibe. I just think that's a dumb statement. Another was the musical score. What? They didn't like them. Okay, they're complaining about the 50s music. I don't know why they hate it so much. I get they're trying to recreate a 50s version of a futuristic feel, but it just seemed way out of place and obnoxious. That is crazy. I think they did such a good job with that, not only in the games, but I think the show really did a good job with that. Like, the aesthetic of everything really just did feel like a futuristic 50s that's post-apocalyptic. I don't know, it felt like exactly what it was supposed to. Maybe they're complaining because a lot of shows and movies have used older music recently. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a prime example of that, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Bringing old music to the light is something that's so cool, especially because now you get to extend the life of these songs to a wider audience, another generation. Still, unlike the abortion Rings of Power, I didn't watch that, but I've heard it's terrible. I did manage to watch the whole season. 1 bonus star for keeping me intrigued enough to see where this weird tale is going. They're saying the 1 star is a bonus star? That's crazy. Let's see. Was this one funny enough to give it a high score? I don't think it was. I think this is another one that just kind of... It feels like they never should have watched this in the first place. I think that some of their points are kind of valid, but I wouldn't say that they're particularly good. I think this one is probably another... It's either D or C, because it's not really funny. It's kind of a dumb review, but I'll put it on C. I don't think it's that bad. Okay, checks off most of the usual tropes. I have an idea of where this is going. I mean, of course Fallout does that. Fallout is kind of known for being very campy and very along the lines of doing tropes on purpose. Yeah, let's get into that. It seems my first review was left unreleased. Why? Don't know. Oh no.
That can't be real, right?
Okay, this person either said something that was incredibly inappropriate or they forgot to hit post. So this series is more of the same modern tropes and preaching repackaged again and again, over and over, forever to infinity. It reminds me of a few other Amazon original series that have tried to preach these same messages using a slightly different veneer. What messages? It's like the characters are just alternate skins in a game that never changes and it keeps sending you back through the same level with various non-player characters playing the same things. I can't tell if this person has played the game or not, because I mean that's kind of how the game is, but the stories are always different. I think they kind of end the same and they kind of start the same. That's purposely done. And they have some similar plot points, but they're always different. They're always their own game, especially because the landscape and how things are set up are different. But they're like saying multiple Amazon shows are like this, and I don't know what they're going with. Unless they're trying to say the same thing that the other dude was saying about the violence being the same, because I think that's a fair point, that the recent Amazon shows are heavy on violence. But this, I don't really agree with this. Unless they're specifically talking about that, and then I guess I get it. Partial list of tropes. The leader father seems good, but is evil. Check. The handsome husband seems good, but is evil. Check. The smart handworking wife who loves her family seems good, but is evil. Check. The knight in armor seems good, but get this, he is evil. What? I don't think he's evil. If they're talking about Maximus, I definitely would not say he's evil. Did this person not watch the show? I think they quit halfway through. Because I guess in the very beginning, you can, like the first couple episodes, I could see somebody mistaking him as evil. After that, though, the story makes it pretty clear he's not necessarily evil. Because, I mean, he got screwed over just like a majority of the rest of the population that was on the surface. So I would not say he's evil. I mean, these are definitely tropes, but these are like fairy tale tropes. Of course they're going to be reused. Every story that you've ever read that's from like the last 100 years, maybe not 100 years, but at least last like 50 years, has had different tropes that are from older media. That's just how stories are. They're going to keep on getting retold in new ways. And I don't think there's anything wrong with reusing tropes, especially because these aren't even like egregious ones. I thought they were gonna come up with some other stuff than this. I don't think this is that egregious. It matches how Fallout is, because Fallout is always, again, it's very tropey and it's very campy with how it does things. I hope there's no season 2. Now that's just pure spite right there. I don't know. If people are enjoying something, why would you hope against it? Even if you don't like it, why wouldn't you want other people to be able to enjoy it still? See, that's what I think is dumb right there, because that's just You're just being an ass for no good reason. 18 people found this helpful. I don't know. I kind of get the trope thing, but I really don't think this is really a good point to have against the show. I really don't, because there's so many stories out here that have these same tropes. I guarantee you they like some Disney movies that have the exact same tropes. I guarantee you they do. So that's why I think this is a little dumb. Anyways, let's rank this one. I think this one has to be a D. It's not terribly egregious. It's not very funny, and it just feels like they're making complaints that aren't really reasonable. Okay, let's try this again. ... Leave me with a bit of a suspense. Oh, not again. Twice in a row? Since they wouldn't post my first review because it somehow qualified as hateful speech. Huh. Okay, so I can immediately say that this review is going to be really dumb. I mean, no surprise here. We've had very few that have any form of not being dumb. And the hateful speech in quotes is really the cherry on top. To actually post this after that and then say that that's why your review was taken down? My God. So first off, the plot was garbage. It did not cause me to give a care about any of the characters. Okay, whatever. Second, it is more of the same progressive and modern content that we've seen from Amazon shows. I don't even know what they're going for with that. I honestly don't know. Unless like you're like calling the political agenda of Vault-Tec and Robco as like progressive and modern, then I don't know. Or maybe they're talking about the nuclear side, but that's happening. I don't think it's that crazy. Third, it is inconsistent with the Fallout world, since the term they and them would not have been needed in a survival scenario with the human population is dwindling. Okay, I'm already here. Let me just show you what's going on with this review. I'm not even gonna finish reading it. Right down here in F tier. Okay, so as I was editing, I realized that this one is probably one of my favorite ones, and I'm a little ashamed of myself that I didn't put it in S tier. So I think I'd move it to S tier now just because it is so funny. But honestly, it could go in F or S tier. And it's the only review on this that I can confidently say that it could be on either of the opposite sides of this. Just because it's so funny, but it's also has some of the worst takes out of any of the other reviews I've gone over. So yeah, you decide where you think this deserves to go. Insult to actual fans of the games, especially New Vegas. Okay, so we've got another nostalgia for New Vegas one. I forgot, which one was like that? I think it was Bethesda Nukes West Coast Lore Out of Spite. That was the other one that was similar to this. All right, aside from comical acting attempts, the bad editing, the janky story, it's the complete retconning of the lore of the most beloved game in the series that angers me. See, right off the bat, I don't think that's true. Because I've watched videos just to like kind of confirm this of other people who actually really enjoyed Vegas that were talking about the show because they enjoyed both the show and Vegas. They said that it didn't really retcon anything. Like there's might have been some minor retcons, but as far as we know, I don't think there's been any actual retcons. I mean, we don't know for certain, but didn't even who's the guy that's in charge of all this? Let me check. I forgot his name. Yeah, Todd Howard. Even he, I'm pretty sure, said that there was nothing that was retconned. So right off the bat, I think that review might be a little silly. New Vegas and Shady Sands are pretty critical in the history of the California wasteland. The Brothers of Steel act like they're wasteland police officers, and the power armor, both practical and CG effects, look ridiculous. What? Okay, that is a terrible take. The practical and CG effects looked incredible. I was surprised that they used so much practical stuff for that show. That's crazy. I thought it looked so good. This show has no idea if it wants to be super dark and gritty survival show or a campy comedy. It's supposed to be both. It's definitely survival, but I think there's definitely an emphasis on comedy and like screwed up shit, obviously. But I think that super dark stuff that they're talking about is a major component of the comedy. They very much go hand in hand, so that's a terrible take. It just whiplashes you between the two, and neither are really what Fallout is about. What are you talking about? This is insanity! Insanity! Like, even like if you just scroll through TikTok on Fallout stuff, you'll see stuff from all the games. Like, you'll see both things that are super dark, and then you'll see comedy that kind of revolves around those super dark things within all those games. Am I crazy? And 14 people found this helpful. These are definitely just people that have spite for the game because they think that everything was retconned. I'm giving it an F tier actually, just because they said the practical and CG effects look terrible or ridiculous. That is such a terrible take. That is a terrible take. Can't there be anything without sex these days? Fallout is a game that is played by adults and single kid. it's still an ongoing game. So when you see something like Fallout and it's something that you could enjoy with your kids, and within the first 30 minutes it shows butt cheeks and a woman riding a man, it's not that great, because it could have been a nice show to watch with your family, because a lot of families play Fallout together. So 1 star, not going to finish watching it, and it's a shame that nothing can be created these days without sex in it. It adds nothing to movie or TV shows, so why would they add it in the first place? Okay, I think this is honestly one of the more fair arguments here. I do think that they overuse sex scenes in a lot of modern media. I don't think it's that egregious in Fallout, though. I feel like a lot of it kind of makes sense, and it kind of fits into that, I don't want to say dark comedy, but it's kind of like edgy comedy, I guess. I don't know. It fits into the comedy within the show, so I don't think it's that bad. It does feel a little silly when it's happening, just because it's like, it does feel a little bit unnecessary. But at the same time, I think it is funny enough that it's worth leaving in the show. So like, I kind of get this opinion. This might be the first A tier just because I understand it. Like, this is just somebody that wants to enjoy the show with their kids. But at the same time, do they not know what happens in Fallout? I feel like Fallout has some pretty gruesome stuff. And isn't there, I feel like there's a lot of insinuations of sex within the games too. So I don't know if they really know what's going on in Fallout. Also, wait, do families really play Fallout together? There's not really multiplayer Fallout, is there? Unless like you mod it. I don't think that's something that happens very often. I don't know. Let me know if you like play Fallout with other people. Let me know. As far as I know, that's not a common thing. Like, most people are playing solo RPG on Fallout. So I'm not even sure if they've actually played the games or just saying that like people in general have families that play Fallout together. I don't know. This one seems, I'm not giving it an A. I'll give it a B though, because I think it's kind of reasonable. I don't think it's a reasonable enough reason to give it a 1 star, because you can still find something good and just ignore that one thing, but I think it's somewhat reasonable. Surprisingly, I read that title and I thought it was going to be really dumb. Okay, decent sci-fi if you skip over the scenes which have oldies music that doesn't fit the action. Another person hating on oldies music. Okay, edit. Oh, we're starting off with an edit. I finished season 1. I found that skipping over the oldies that have nothing to do with the story, the series is pretty good. I don't think the old music is so egregious to the point where you feel like you have to skip over them. Like, you just have to hate music to feel like you have to skip over them just to watch the series. That's such a crazy take. That's actually so funny. Whenever they go into this oldie mode, it's usually a montage filler that has nothing to do with the plot. End edit. I mean, kind of. I feel like you're missing out on a huge part of the aesthetic of the show, and games for that matter, by skipping over the music. That's crazy. And it's even crazier that they still have it rated 1 star after saying that it's pretty good outside of just the music. Do they just go through like everything that they don't like? If they don't like the soundtrack, do they just give it a 1 star? Is that what this person does? Seems to be the new fad. Bad music that ruins scenes. Yeah, okay, yeah, I think they just hate music. Almost wonder if AI identified a way to make more money by agitating people. Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened. Seems to work on social media, perhaps now on shows produced by streaming companies. This feels like they're referencing TikTok. I'm not gonna lie, TikTok does have some pretty bad music sometimes, but I don't think it ruins the content completely. There's some funny stuff on there, even if it is a little bit of a cesspool. Stuff like love songs during slaughters, exceptionally staid oldies, excuses to play this terrible music not as background music but as real music existing in the show, such as what's on someone's radio, earbuds, or PA system. See, this is even crazier because the show's kind of built around like it being kind of like the 50s, 60s, just in the future. So of course you're gonna have that music. You don't need an excuse to play it. That's like the world building, and the music is a huge part of that world building because I think it really helps staple the idea that this is like a future version of the 50s and 60s. This is a out-of-pocket one, and I'm tempted to give it an S tier just because it's so funny. Their whole review is about how much they hate oldies music, and I'm more thinking that they just hate music in general. This is crazy. How many times do I have to say this on this ranking? All these are so insane. Like, these are some of the most reasonable 1 stars, and even then, I think that it's great. Like, these people feel like they should have rated it like a 2 or 3 star minimum, based on what else they said like within the reviews. Oh my god. I'm gonna leave it in S tier for now because that is incredible. But I might bump it down later, depending on what these other ones are, because they might set a new high that knocks this one down to A. Unnecessary and distracting degeneracy and animal cruelty. Animal cruelty? Are they talking about what they did to dog meat? Obviously, there's not like real animal cruelty going on here. What? Let's just look at it. People masturbating in a room full of people. Oh, You know this is gonna be good after that first opener to this review. Okay, idiotic ice-breaking questions like, what is your sperm count? And pointless visuals of throwing baby animals into a furnace just for shock effect. This is more stuff that like you just expect from a Fallout universe. What? Okay, anyways, let me just keep on going with this one. And that isn't even all of the complete sickening and pointless degeneracy they show in this TV show that have nothing to do with the story or even lore from the video games. Yes, it does. Again, this is like that kind of helps fill in this aesthetic of what Fallout is.
I'm losing my mind!
But just pointlessly added in unsuspecting places for no other reason than to distract you from enjoying the show and offend watchers' sensibilities. I'm sure that's why they put that in. Not to please the people that like the game, not to really uphold the aesthetic of the games within the TV series. That definitely couldn't be why. Then there's the women abuse and other gross stuff this show portrays. Toxic stuff going on in the show. Hey, they got one thing right. There's toxic stuff going on in the show. That's the point. That's the point. Okay, so looking at it from their point of view, they don't like this stuff, so why would they want to watch the show? Okay, sure. Give it a 1 star. For most people, this is an insane review. This is crazy. And it's crazy. I do think it's a little insane that they just mentioned women abuse when I feel like pretty much everybody in the series is fairly equally treated terribly. I feel like I can't be that wrong on that. I mean, look at the Brotherhood of Steel. That's insane. Literally everybody in the show is treated pretty equally abuse-wise. Okay, so there's 2 ways this could go. Is it funny enough to rank it high, or is it stupid enough to rank it low? Honestly, actually, I think this one's more somewhere in the B or C. Some of this later stuff I think is crazy. Like, really toxic stuff going on in this show. That is such a stupid thing to say about a Fallout TV series. Can you even watch the trailers and still go through and watch the show without having this viewpoint right off the bat? Is that something you can do and like really expect to like it? This is okay. Anyways, I think I'm giving this one, I want to say a C. I think this is a C tier. All right. This bottom half is getting pretty full. I was hoping I'd get more really funny ones. Like, a lot of these are kind of funny, but they don't feel like they're funny enough to grant them a rank of S or A tier. Okay, Nope. I've got a lot of hope for you. It's literally just titled Nope with a period. I feel like it's got to be at least kind of funny. God, I can only hope. The intro is intriguing and well done. 1 star. This show had a lot of potential, but it's ruined by an unattainably and stereotypically overly attractive doe-eyed lead. No way! No way, this one might be the funniest one. This one might be the funniest one, with a permanently vacant one-note expression cast for the interest of fanboy pigs. There's no way this is real. There's no way this is real.
This is my hell.
Holy shit, we saved the best for last somehow. I didn't even do this on purpose. How is this? How did this manage to be the last one, and how did this even happen as a review? How did somebody sit down and write this? Oh my god. She may as well stand there, twirl her hair on her finger, and giggle for the whole show, because that's all she's there for. Is this a 2004 or 2024 release? This feels like such a regression. What a waste. It feels like they just hate women. What is going on? They're complaining about there being an attractive women in a show. What? I feel like they've got some self-esteem issues. Why would you complain about someone being attractive unless like you're ugly as shit and have some major self-esteem issues? And like the one note expression, of course she acts pretty similar in the show because that's how they were raised in the vault. They were raised without very many taboo ideologies. Like there's not much that they really won't talk about within the vault. I mean, literally, like the other review was talking about, she asked about the sperm count like instantly to her husband at the time. I feel like that ideology of them just not finding things taboo to talk about kind of leads to this her always kind of being in a similar expression throughout the show, just because there's nothing that's like taboo enough to really change how she'll look at some things. Of course there's a few things here and there, like when she cut off the guy's head. Even then though, it wasn't like taboo to the point where she wouldn't do it. She did it because she had to. It was a big deal, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And also I think that adds to the comedy of the show. You look at all these things and she's like not taking them, like it's not as big of a deal as you'd expect them to be. That's another part of the humor. Fanboy pigs. That is crazy. Okay, yeah, this one by far is the best one. Oh my god, I think it's above the oldies one. I don't think it pushes this one down to an A tier. I think this is also just an S tier. Wow. I can't believe that. Well, hopefully we've all learned something about 1-star reviews on Amazon Prime. First of all, don't look at them. They're really brainless. Second of all, maybe you do look at them. They're really funny. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say on this. That's crazy. But here's our ranking of the reviews. Let me know what you would like to change or what you'd keep the same. Let me know if my review of these reviews belongs in F to S tier. You can rank mine too. I take no problem with that. Oh my god.